From the magnificent Midwest, it's the Suzanne Venker Show, where men and women are equal in value but wildly different by nature. Join us here every week as we challenge the culture's hugely flawed narratives about men, women, sex, and love. From coast to coast and from around the world, thank you for joining us. Hello, Andre.
Hello, darling.
Thanks for coming back.
Absolutely.
We kind of cut it off slowly last week, and I apologize, but we got crunched for time, so I said we'd come back and do a part 2. So here we are.
Beautiful.
And I want to pick up, this may or may not be exactly where we left off, but I want to talk about some examples, let's just get right to it, of things that, so we talked about this cave woman's response to weakness, that it's a biological thing that comes out of women to the point where they themselves don't even know why they're doing what they're doing, right? Not just the husband or the man. So let's talk about some of these examples that men do to inadvertently trigger this cave woman's response to weakness, what she's perceiving as weakness. And I'm going to start out with a really big one that I know you probably deal with in your coaching, and I know I do. And that is, and it's not just coaching, you hear it everywhere in the news as well. Letting the wife handle everything.
Yep.
Putting all the decisions in her hand, thinking, and let's set this up right, because I don't want to be like you hear about it when you read it in the news where men are lazy and don't step up and women are doing everything because they're so great. I'm saying they, as a rule, really honestly believe that their wife wants to do that. She's given every indication. And so we talked about this last time, that they naturally step back thinking they're doing the right thing. Tell them why that is the wrong thing and what to do instead.
Good one. So, boy, if you understand, I guess if I go there first, that masculinity, strength, power is sexy to a woman because it shows a man's capacity, and that she could relax in the fact that, you know, he can handle himself and protect her. Safety is always the go-to for women. Safety is always the go-to for the feminine. Safety, 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 and after that is connection, connection, connection. So if when you let a woman handle stuff, whether it's because she doesn't want to have to explain it, it'll be easier to do it herself, right? Or she doesn't want to nag or ask 3 times, and often he's not doing it on her time because he's a man. He's going to do it on his time, which is frustrating. So women will actually jump into whatever because it's easier. But in that, as we talked about this last time, men think that you want to do it, that you're okay doing it, that's sort of, you know, your choice. Otherwise, you'd ask on some level. So it shows on some level that you don't necessarily want to step up. You don't see that she needs help. You don't care that she needs help. You take it for granted because she ends up doing everything. She's aware of every time she spent energy doing stuff that she thinks you should do, resents the hell out of that. Eventually you get a very crabby, overwhelmed and cranky woman because, you know, she feels like she's doing everything by herself. I hear this every day of my life.
Yep.
Every day of my life. So 2 things here that's a little bit interesting, I think. There's layers of this. I have to say this. If we're going to talk about caveman, cavewoman, and driving mechanism, this is what men have said at times that I can relate to completely as a male. The man who works outside in the world, right? He's accountable for outside work, making money, like get in the car, drive an hour, work, whatever. He's doing the outside work, the hunting work, and he'll hold himself accountable for this. He's proud of that. He's taking care of everybody with this, right? But this is what they say. I'm doing my part outside. I don't really give a crap about inside. The little thing of inside, I'm not interested in, right? I do my part, and he expects her to do that part. But in a country, in a culture where we go 50-50, and to say, again, you have to understand, women also work, so now you need help.
So that changed everything.
Right? So, but this is where sort of that collision happens, because the woman is very aware of how crazy it makes her when the dishes are and the sink and the laundry's on the floor and the house is dirty, like it makes you crazy. You're so aware of this. And for most of us, especially if you work outside the house and whatever, as a male, I'm telling you, I come home and I don't give a crap. Like I don't see the dishes. Not that I'm blind, it's just it doesn't affect me. You know what I mean? Home is where I come to sit, to charge my batteries, so I could fight the world tomorrow. So it doesn't affect me. Like as long as the house isn't smelling, I don't care. I don't
Like
care.
it's like
I
the
really, I don't
if
care.
you leave them alone to like when are you going to do your wash the sheets or whatever, and when
When
they're
it's
brown,
right.
they
But I mean,
when
you've
yeah,
seen Bachelor's Apartment, right? That's exactly this. Like the environment doesn't affect us until it smells, and it's really disgusting. But to you ladies, you see all the details, and your environment is your nest, and your nest has to be clean. It's to be
right.
so
But so
this.
now, so for our marriages, because they tend to be more conventional in terms of, even though Nancy and I both work outside the home
Yeah.
part time in their own way or whatever, primarily you're the provider, and that's
Mhm.
your responsibility, and the home is more us. Now, when you have that, it's much, much easier. It flows very smoothly. But when you have the opposite situation, how is a man, if at all, supposed to respond to that? Because so many of them are, of course, in that boat.
So respond to what part? I'm sorry, I missed.
Sorry, respond to the clear breakdown in the relationship as a result of her becoming resentful because he's not acting like she is.
Right. Well,
I know. When we look at each other, we're thinking there's only one answer to this.
I mean, geez, go ahead.
Well, I was just
You
gonna say, so you and I don't have to deal with this, but we see it with other people, and so I work with women on trying to help them expect less and ask more rather than expect the husband to be like her.
Mhm.
On the other hand, so much of what I end up saying is work less, stop
Right.
working so much. That's usually what I end up saying, and the ones that can hear it and actually put into action, they're like, "Holy crap!" And I'm not saying even stop. I'm just saying cut back considerably to free up your time so that you can handle more, because you're the one who's going to be pulled by those things at home. It's
Yeah.
not that he's trying to put it on you. You're putting it on you by you creating the life that caused you to be pulled in these two different directions. He's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
asking you to do it. He doesn't really care whether it's done. And you can't, the problem is you can't make him care. You
Well,
can't. You
you know,
you can decide on some um rules. It's a
baselines.
baseline,
Yeah.
like I
Yeah. Yeah.
cook, you clean, that kind of thing.
Yeah. That's yeah.
Um, but I guess I'm thinking of people who um I'm thinking of men who are in the situation of not knowing, thinking that they're doing enough, but they're not. Um, and what they can do. This is just one example. I don't want to spend too
Yeah.
much time
Yeah.
on. I've got other more obvious examples
And
of
they're not according to who, because that's the dynamic.
yes,
That's
right,
according to who.
exactly.
He's like,
According
what
to
else do you
her.
want me to do? I'm doing
Yeah,
all this. Like, I
yeah.
don't, I'll give you an example of something ridiculous, and that creates a lot of friction in that context. One of my clients is traveling a lot. He's out of town 2 days a week on a plane, right? She wants more help in the house. They have 2 kids, not 5 kids. They have 2 kids, but she wants more help because she's working part time, but she's pretty much a homemaker. But somehow it's not fair that she's doing the shitty work. Her words, right? He's like, well, you think what I'm doing is fun? Like all the time. You think it's glamorous? It sounds good, but anyway. So they have this pull that her life is shittier than his because he gets to travel and be a businessman and earn the money, and it's in our culture, and has this thing where she wants him to help in the house. The stuff he doesn't want to do, he's out of town most of the day. Like he comes home, like
Hmm.
that's not my job. That's pretty much becomes him. However, she's so frustrated. He wants to be pleasant. He wants to help her. He wants her to be happy. True example, true life moment. So we just had this negotiation where he says, I'm gonna do what I can. I'm gonna see if I can pay attention a little bit more, and it's important to you. Beautiful. I think the next day, some stuff about he's in the kitchen and he goes, oh look, dishes in the sink. I think I'm gonna be the good guy. So puts the dishes in the sink and fires the dishwasher. He's like, good guy,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
right.
I said I would, and I just did it, right? Leaves the kitchen, leaves the area, and at some moment, the details I don't have, but he comes back in the kitchen because he hears some noise, and she's in the kitchen rearranging the
Yeah,
dishwasher.
yeah, yeah.
And he lost his mind.
Mm-hmm.
because somehow he did it the right way, and she was frustrated. He doing the right way with the thing is actually going, and stuff like this is another way that men pull back.
Yep.
Is that you want me to do it your way? I'm going to do it my way. I'm a man. I'm autonomous. I know who I am. I know what to do. Like I don't need anybody to tell me what to do. That's his paradigm of masculinity. So to make him wrong for having done something the wrong way or not her way, this is when men go, you know what? Do it yourself.
Okay.
And he said that. He said that I'll never touch your dishes ever again.
Yeah.
Now that's not cool, but like he was so disrespected. He felt so. I can't load a dishwasher, really.
Right. And is he clear though to her? This is why this can't work because you are undermining my. And so you either decide to not do that or I'm going to not do it. And that is your choice. It's not me, Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So one little thing that's interesting, I think, is again, it's a cave woman default, by the way. It has to be just done a certain way. That's a feminine paradigm of cave woman. Like if it's not done exactly this way, somebody's gonna die or something terrible is gonna happen. That's a cave woman reflex. However, we're not here anymore. We're not there anymore. We're not cave people anymore. So when you have that, ladies, if you have the reflex of, it has to be done just so, see if you can let it go.
Yeah. Right.
Because it'll kill you and you'll resent him for what? A dishwasher that loaded come on, right? Or anything. So your way, instinctively, we know you're attached to. So it's either let him do it his way, or you do it yourself because you can't stand it. Not be done your way. But it's kind of a very interesting kind of.
It is, and it's not really fixable in terms of your desires. So you really, the only way to resolve an unnatural, what I call an unnatural dynamic, because you're being competitive and you both are trying to live parallel lives, is that you're going to have to come up with some sort of business arrangement and not let your emotions get in the way, which is just impossible because eventually you can hold it together for so long, but that's why it's such a strain on a marriage.
Yep.
That's why.
Yep.
Okay, so let's do some more obvious examples, though, of things that would make a woman go, okay. Well, addictions. Addictions. Yeah. Drug, alcohol, even YouTube. I mean, and by the way, you could say the same thing about social media for women, but for the moment, I'm just talking about things that a man can, I'm trying to give them power, something that they can be recognize that's going to cause a reaction in her, that's going to make her feel unsafe. And so what is it about addictions that would make a woman, I mean, it's kind of obvious, what should make her feel unsafe and lash out?
Well, because he's disappearing, he's sort of numbing, he's being a girl, right?
Yep.
He's literally, because we know this, by the way, addictions, any kind of addiction, any kind of mind-altering chemicals will flip you into the other side. If you're a man and you drink or do drugs, any chemical brain affecting chemicals will turn you to a girl. When men are drunk, what do? I love you, man. I love you, man. Oh, yeah. Right? They fall into their femininity.
I was talking with somebody about this the other day. A girlfriend was like, listen, what's that song? Don't come home and drinking with loving on your mind. I don't know, Loretta Lynn or somebody. Yep. And it's like, I'm not interested. You are so not appealing to me when you're slobbering all over me. You're exactly right. I never really thought about it. It's like a girl.
When men drink, they flip into their feminine. When women drink, they flip into their masculine.
Unless they're angry drunks.
Well, no, whatever comes out, right? So whatever comes out. So the part of them that's emotional comes out on the man.
Oh, the part that's emotional. Yes,
for sure. Which is the feminine, right? So if he's a lover, I love you, man. If he's angry, he's a beast.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So he can't control. He cannot control his emotion. He falls into his emotion. He becomes feminine.
Yes. No, that's
So whatever's happening inside explodes. For women, college girls are very guilty of this. Drinking or drugs will actually knock them out of their feelings, so they can act as stupid as they want.
Yes,
and as stupid as they want. So it's interesting when you flip the script. So any kind of addiction, if it's a man that operates like a man most of the day, or when you met him, addiction turns him into a girl, passive, emotional, unstable, financially, emotionally. You might as well just you might as well just completely be alone. It's
worst. Dead. Sexually, it's just a deadness. There's just nothing there.
Is gone. Not interested. The woman doesn't feel safe with this because he's unstable, and it's over. It's
Okay,
worse.
so note to men, if you have an addiction and your woman isn't or wife isn't responding in the way you'd like her to, turn inward because you're exuding something that's turning her off, and that's up to you to fix.
Right.
Bottom line.
You basically slipping into weakness.
Yeah.
Trying to escape whatever it is you're
Yeah.
escaping. You're slipping into feeling good or feeling better as a
Yeah.
man.
No
And
matter what that.
you become a big girl.
Yeah.
Not sexy to a woman.
No. Okay. When she's lashing out, you either scream back at her
Yep.
or you say nothing and just sit there.
Now that one is tough because I'm gonna tell you this. So men, right-handed men, right? There's a difference between the left-handed man and right-handed man. There's a whole brain thing that we don't have time to talk about, but right-handed men, who are 90% of the population, are either in their logical left brain all the time, and then they slip into the right brain, which is the creative, talkative, experience life, like watching a movie, the guy's on his right brain, right? He's sort of not producing anything. You with me?
Mhm.
That is the emotional part of our brain. We both have both. But when a man who's logically driven gets into an argument, right, and falls into his right lobe, now there's a lot of data on this. You just have to go with me. When a man is upset, he can't think. When you're fighting with a man, you'll say stuff like, "So, what do you think about what I'm saying?" And he goes, "I don't know what I'm thinking." And you're like, "The guy's a dumbass." No, if he's right-handed, he cannot think. When he's emotional, he can't think. So he has to, because we can't flip back and forth between our lobes like you can. It's a whole brain thing. So he has to remove himself to the garage, away from you, to really figure out how he feels, what he's thinking, and the isolation. Give him in space. Man always asks for space. If a man is upset, give him space. Why? Because that's what he needs to do this, because he can't be in the moment and fight back and or even think. So they go blank, or if you go too far and he gets really agitated, he becomes loud. He loses his shit. He can't control his emotion. He's in this right lobe. So you don't want either. So I say, don't fight. It sounds ridiculous, but like, if you're going to have any kind of negotiation or delicate conversation, you both have to be neutral, because the moment he gets elevated, he goes to hell, and you're not going to be able to do anything with him in that moment. If you state a problem and leave him with this, he's going to go away and think about it and see how he feels about it, and think about it and see how he feels about it. It may take 3 hours. It may take 3 days. You know.
That's very good, Andre.
But if he knows that you want an answer to this, he'll come back 3 days later.
Yep.
I think I know what happened. I think
Yeah.
I know what
100%.
That's just.
I mean, you could see that even in our sons, right? Not even just my husband, but our sons.
Males.
Yep. Males.
Now, right-handed man, and ambidextrous man, and anatomically gay man, a whole different topic. Don't do this. They're wired more like women. So they go.
I'm left-handed. What does that mean about me?
That means nothing about a woman. Your brain is the same. So basically, the brain wiring on a woman, you have choices. You can use both sides of both hemispheres of your brain at will quickly.
Yeah.
Right-handed man cannot. So.
Yeah,
So what's telling a man who's left-handed literally lives his life on his right lobe, like a woman. So they're a different beast. It doesn't make him gay. It doesn't make him gay. It just makes him more emotional, more wordy, more artistic, more blah, blah, blah. A lot of goodies for women in that, and there's also a lot of trouble. Long story. Different topic.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just going back to
yeah.
So I want to make it really clear, because I know some men will respond to this information by thinking, well, she shouldn't behave that way. So why do I need to watch myself in conjunction with what she shouldn't be doing? She should just not do it, which of course is completely counterproductive, because first of all, you don't have any control over that.
Right.
So you could just sit there and get mad and not have any strategies, or you can have strategies and make it go away with your own behavior. Right.
Yes.
So what's the remedy? You have to be able to say things. Now I'm thinking, what do I want to do here? I want to explain for people the difference between when a woman's naturally responding to your behaviors in this sort of cave woman way, because she's basically scared that you're not strong enough. That's
Yep.
the gist of it.
She's terrified. Actually,
And
terrified.
I want to, yeah, and I want to. This is super important because I know you've seen it, and I've definitely seen it. Delineate that between the abusive woman, which gets no play. Abusive. So in other words, where you could have a screaming wife who's out of control responding to you, who's perfectly, well, I don't know. This is where people struggle. They're like, we want to slap a label on all behaviors these days, but there's just, being, I don't know, poor behavior. And then there's abusive behavior.
Yeah.
So for example, I put some lists here of what I would consider abusive behavior. I assume other people would too, but let's just list them out here. Obvious ones: hitting,
right,
kicking, slapping, name calling, like you're with a really horrible name, cursing at you, cutting you down, saying bad things to your face, berating you in front of others. These are behaviors that are not at least not what I'm talking about. I don't know. I don't think you're talking about them either. This is a completely different category.
Right.
And we've all seen it, and it's very ugly. And I think you referenced it last time to say this would be the extreme side of this caveman woman thing. Well, and that is completely unacceptable behavior that you have to stop.
Yes.
And I'm going to give you, before you answer, one example of somebody from several years ago, a couple where the woman would not let the man leave and stopped him from leaving the door. And woohoo, that's probably the most extreme.
Yeah, she got hurt.
That's flat out abusive. You cannot get in a man's way when he's saying, I've got to leave and step out and I'll come back, just like you were describing a moment ago. She physically stops him from leaving. Now, she doesn't touch him, but she contorts her body in such a way that she's stopping him from leaving.
Did she get hurt?
No, he was not able to do that. And I'm not suggesting that he should hurt her. I'm saying
no, I'm just saying this is when women get hurt.
Yes, no, he was a lovely man and a strong man, actually, who was, and it was kind of a young marriage, and he literally did not know what to do with that. Which, who the hell would? What person wouldn't know what to do with that?
I want to say this. Talk about caveman reaction. Again, when a man is emotional, he can't think. Right. And if you go, and when you fight, because you ladies are much faster at the words, and so you could sort of machine gun everything that's wrong with him and throw at him all the vicious thing that you can because you're angry, because you do that. You know what I mean? All the buttons that, he is insecure about, you throw in his face. So often, again, depending on the size of the fight and the kind of woman, not all women, but in a fight, you tend to go, for the jugular. What happened is he'll get emotional in his right brain, right lobe, right? Angry. Now he can't think, right? It elevates. She keeps throwing stuff at him at his head. Now pushes his button to you just whatever name calling, right? Or trying to what's the word?
Get him to react.
Get him to react, or get him to wake up to the frustration. But by then it's too much. It's too big. It's an avalanche.
That's what I mean. Yes,
it's an avalanche of crap. So get this, and if he can't defend himself, like with his words, because he can't, right-handed, he can't, right? He'll just get when we all have, we call it the beast inside of us. The beast inside of us, like that's another we all know we have it. Males, women as well, but males, because testosterone is that sucker is alive and well. That if somebody hurts my kid, I will kill him. The beast, right? So the beast is under control at all times, but if I lose control, I get so emotional, so angry, and you push the buttons that you shouldn't push. The reason why men leave is because he knows it's about to get dangerous.
100%.
He's trying to protect you, ladies.
Yep.
So when he's like, he's about to blow. So I've had many clients who, like your client, went in front of him at the door and got hurt. I'm like, what? Let him go. He's trying to, he's instinctively knows he's about to lose his shit. And because men don't fight with their mouths, men fight with their fists, man on man. If you let him blow this. I'm not excusing it. I'm explaining the mechanism. Right?
Yeah, I understand.
So that's the idea of he's trying to protect you when he's trying to leave. Let him go. Let him think it through. Let him deflate. Let him, come back and what the hell just happened?
And I think you would agree that generally speaking, unless you're really dealing with a very mentally ill woman, and or person, that's male or female, that's a completely different animal.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with a full-on mental illness, but putting the mental illness aside, okay, just super, 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 super bad behavior that borders on abusive. There were a lot of exchanges way before that he could have handled differently that would have kept that from happening. Right. Which is not to say you're responsible for it's very tricky because it's not a blame thing. It's just that there's a yin and a yang here, and each person has power with their own behaviors, and you can actually behave in such a way that would keep her from ever getting to that point.
Right.
And so again, going back to some of those things, we're talking about letting her handle everything, having an addiction, screaming back at her rather than being calm and controlled. You get in charge of yourself and being grounded and strong and the best person you can be. And she feels that. And you stop her the moment you see bad behavior. So what does that look like, Andre? Because that's really what so many people struggle with. How do I stop her?
Are you ready? Man, so simple. You ready? So if you consider and again, this is nature. Women are more emotional. Your feelings drive how you feel moment to moment. Man, normal male, masculine men, don't drive their lives through their feelings. We pride ourselves in being stoic and not letting feelings get in the way or getting emotional. Doesn't matter how I feel, it needs to get done. Doesn't matter if I'm angry, I got to do this, right? So we don't operate through how we feel. So we find that amazingly baffling that you do, because it's so much easier our way. Just going to say, right? Seriously. So I lost the question. Give me the question again.
The question was, what are those things that those men can do way early on before so it never gets to that point?
Yeah. Got it. So
to correct the behavior of the wife in an appropriate way so that she doesn't. Yeah. Okay.
All right. A couple of things here, but I think what I see a lot, the one that I run into a lot is women get upset because you didn't do this, or women get upset because you forgot that. And women get upset because, and those are typically little things. Little things that she keeps asking and he's blind to because that's not his focus and whatever, he's doing something right. And again, this is just men and women. And often, even if he hurts her feelings, often women don't want to necessarily open that kind of worm, because every time if she tried, there's experiences for a lot of women that when they try to correct him, it goes to hell. Mm-hmm. With me? Mm-hmm. So what I see a lot is women go and go walk the dog, come back neutral, which I always say, if you're going to talk about anything, be neutral, both of you. So they go neutral, okay, 10 minutes and 50. And then, well, that's not such a big deal, and I feel better now. And if I bring it up, you may get upset, and you skip it. You don't have the conversation, the casual conversation, to fix that little thing that hurt you feeling, whatever, right? And what happened is women will tend to do this and avoid not wanting to, when they feel better, to start it again, and it piles up. Pancakes and pancakes.
100%. Yep.
Pancakes and pancakes and pancakes.
Yep, pancakes. There you go. That's a good analogy.
You have to understand, if you understand as it pancakes, he has no idea that happened. Because you're not talking to him about it, you're not discussing him, and you just keep blowing it off because it's not a big deal. You don't want to get him mad, and usually, so the disconnect you're afraid of, the confrontation. Anyway, so you see what I'm saying? So, and eventually, that little thing, like, left the glass on the counter after she cleaned the kitchen, and all of a sudden there's a bomb. And he's like, what in the hell is wrong with you? But that's a compilation of all the petty file injuries that she has in her head collected, right? It's a cave woman thing as well, by the way, to remember everything, and they pile up. And what happens from there is now she can't hold it. Now she's going at him. You have to understand, caveman, cave woman, that he's a warrior and a hunter at heart. If you attack him, you will push back. You will probably lose. because especially over, you know what I mean? Like if he doesn't know what's happening, why it's so big over a glass, he thinks you're crazy, right? This is what men say, and like what they do is like, you know, and they push back. And now you can't even have a conversation because you're both upset, and now there it is.
Exactly. So what should they do instead?
He's a big jerk. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
ladies, I say you have to bring it up. You know, for your sake, when something has to be cleaned up. Very simple.
Yeah, but that's her end. What
That's
if
her
she
end. Yeah.
doesn't do that? And
Okay.
then
Here
how,
we go.
what's, yeah.
My turn. So if you're a man, right, which means you're going to be stoic, and when she loses it, I want you to assume that it's your fault. Just assume that it's your fault, because it could be a compilation of everything that happened during the week, but that day, that thing, boom, right? It's like you're the trigger. Just assume that, and if you do, you'll be safer. What do you do if you step in the storm?
Yes, thank you.
You're gonna turn the freaking storm into a typhoon. What the stoic masculine does is becomes the rock, and it doesn't move in the storm, and it goes like this. I don't think there's no visual, right?
I know there's a visual here.
So what they do is literally just lean in and go like this.
Well, now that's not helpful. They can't see. So
But just look at her. Literally, just stand your ground.
Uh-huh.
Don't get emotional. Don't start yelling that. That's ridiculous, right? That's gonna be a and again,
shit show. A shit show.
That's also feminine. Don't get in there trying to defend. Let her, like, it may not be about you. Maybe the last thing's about you, but it's a compilation of everything else, whatever. Just stand there. You're the rock in the storm, right? The tornado is coming at you. Don't move. Just look at her. And you're going to watch the tornado collapse very quickly. It'll stop. She's just going to hit it, and then it'll go, whoo. She'll start crying.
Now, I'm gonna hold on. I want to say a little analogy here that's going to be insulting for some people, but it just drives the point home. Think about, and especially women will yell at me for this, for making this analogy. Think of it as like dealing with a child who's having a tantrum.
Yeah.
And what would you do if it was your 3-year-old? If your wife is acting like that, then you have every right to respond the way you would as if she were 3, because she kind of is acting like that. Because it's up to her to be communicative early on and not let it build up, which is why I said, so if she does that anyway, you have choices, and it's not to
get in.
Back. It's not to get in. It's to be the rock and not show her that it's not affecting you. That's the key.
That's what makes her that's what makes her feel safe.
Yes.
And she's watching you not respond, not push back. And I literally just, what happens, I just look at her. I just look at her. Like nothing she says is whatever. Like and typically it literally, in that she feels safe. She realizes it's ridiculous. She knows she's losing her shit. Like she's embarrassed in the middle. She's still yelling and embarrassed. And they go, oh. She starts crying. Because now it's released, whatever was the buildup, right? And I go like this. I go, wow,
that felt good.
That was a lot. Wow, how you doing? You okay? How do you feel?
I mean, beautiful.
And just steady there, and then she literally will start bawling, and I just open my arms, and she jumps right in, cries some more, and then what was that all about? And she's like, well, and then whatever it was about, typically is right there. Then we can fix it. Then we can talk about it. I was just so tired of everything, and today was really horrible. And like when you put that glass there, like, you know, I asked so many times, and it just kind of I know it is. I'm rubbing her back. She feels safe. She's calm. I saved her from herself.
Yes, there you go.
When it occurs,
there you go.
I get the power to save her from herself, because when she loses it,
that's what it is.
She's not okay with it, and she is literally.
She doesn't want to feel that way or be that way.
She doesn't want to be that way. She doesn't want to be that way. So I'm the rock, and I killed the storm, and ultimately.
Why is being defensive feminine on a man?
Well, simply this. So just look at character or behavior, right? Who, between men and women, who's more emotional?
Women.
There's your answer. So we're both masculine and feminine. We're both masculine and feminine, but losing your temper, losing your mind, being emotional is a female trait. Men pride themselves in holding down their emotion, holding down their reaction. Men could be super upset and it looks like nothing. just
I
sitting
don't
there
know that
quiet.
they think though of their defensiveness as emotional, but it is
Who,
because
man?
yeah.
Abs-
I
If
don't know
he's
if they think of it that
if
way. I think
he
they
if
think of them as defending their territory or themselves.
well, now I'm going to
But
say this: men will do defend themselves when they feel disrespected, and it's your fault, and now you attack them. On some level, he feels disrespected. Respect. Typically, even though if you when you disrespect most men, they're naturally stoic, right? You'll see him clench his
mm-hmm,
jaw first.
mm-hmm,
You get da da blah blah. He's fine, and you say something, boom, and he goes. You will see him clench his jaw. He
mm-hmm,
just got hit in the gut with
definitely.
disrespect. And then either you'll see his energy pull completely back away from you,
Mm-hmm.
or he actually leaves the space. And you have to leave him alone.
Yep.
Now he's going to manage this and figure out what he's going to do with this, or how to not get the upset, the disrespect all over you. Men don't scream and shout when they're upset. They shut down and isolate, and they process quietly on their own. It's good and bad. It's both things. There's a middle ground that we tend to both not both should thrive to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, man, losing your shit, calling your wife names, getting into the storm is girly as hell. It's losing control of your emotions,
Yeah.
losing control
Right.
of yourself. It's feminine. It's emotional. It's a storm. It's girly. Sorry. So you just let your girl out. It's interesting because when I learned this, I was embarrassed. And all the times I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
actually love this is wow. What a
Yeah.
bitch. What a bitch I was.
Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
bitch, right?
Yeah.
So now just knowing that, like
Deep
I'm the
breaths.
man here. If I'm the man here, I can stand in the storm. I could go,
Yep.
okay, no, I need a minute, remove myself, and so I
Mm-hmm.
can come back logical and
Mm-hmm.
solid and grounded and not triggered.
And it's hard. I mean, let's be real about it. I mean,
I'm
I've
with
seen
you.
my husband change dramatically in our marriage from being more out of control of his emotions if he's responding instead of reacting,
Right.
and it's not that way anymore. And it took some doing, just like it took me doing to stop nagging and start understanding the sweetness is what brings it out, and that wasn't natural for me.
Yeah.
um which is, this is real stuff. I mean, people
Yep.
have personalities and upbringings and things that
Yep.
make them who they are, and anything is possible. You just have to be aware of it, that it's harder for you than it would be for someone like my daughter, who I think I've mentioned before is naturally, very naturally feminine, and not at all like my personality in that regard. I shouldn't say not at all, but primarily
Yes.
it's easier for her. It wouldn't be a natural thing for her to challenge, for example. She'll just be
Right.
more receptive, and I'm more of a natural challenger.
Agreeable. She's more
Agreeable,
agreeable,
agreeable versus
cooperative.
disagreeable. Yep,
Right.
all of that.
Doesn't want to stir the stuff. No confrontation.
No. So it's not that if you're disagreeable by nature, like I tend to be, that you can't learn to be agreeable. It's that it's going to be a harder road for you. Anything, you can do it. I used to think that, I remember when I was first married, I thought, well, this is my personality. I can't change that. You married it. So this is what you got. You must have loved it. What? And that was my,
Go
young,
to. Go to.
yeah, right, right, right. I mean, yeah, I really believe that. And it's fascinating how silly that feels to me now, because it's so, so, so wrong. You
It's
definitely have propensities, but you can override your brain. It just takes a shit ton of effort. That's
yeah.
all.
Well, and
Um,
I'm just gonna throw that in. I'm not sure what else you got, if anything.
oh,
Just
you want
throwing
to
it.
throw what in?
Well, it's just something else. Another piece
Oh, go
about
ahead. Go ahead.
why it happens to women through marriage is interesting.
Okay.
So, just a thought. If a woman is feminine by nature, right? I know you're a little bit more alpha naturally, but it's all
Hmm.
the whole range of everything. There's super masculine women and super girly women, everybody in the middle,
Sure.
wherever you land, right? But something that is very, very, very common is most women, most even super feminine women, when they have a baby, they turn, because mothering and nurturing is actually masculine. People don't think that, right? It's providing, protecting the baby.
Hmm.
So the sweet, lovely woman that you married, who is a lovely little feminine thing, when she has a baby, Mama Bear comes out. And Mama
Hmm.
Bear is masculine, leans in, she controls everything, she manages everything, right? You can't tell her what to do. You come home, you were the man for years, and all of a sudden you come home and he's like, should we put the baby down? And she's like, excuse me, you know, You
Yeah,
know,
you feel like a boarder in your own home, basically.
exactly. And so this is also instinctual. This is needed for survival of the kids. However, a woman should recover from mama bear mode in a couple of years. A lot of women don't, and now
Yeah.
becomes a danger in the relationship. So, like temperament, life, pregnancy will actually alter our way of operating and being. And sometimes, if you're not really aware of what's happening, the man that you used to respect is now a third child in your house,
Mm-hmm.
and it's over. It goes straight to hell. Like then people say, he's changed. Well, he's learned to acquiesce to Mama Bear, and ultimately it all falls on her. She's doing everything because he can't jump in here because she's in the beginning, right? Mama Bear stuff is dangerous. It's wild. It's
Yeah.
crazy what happened
Yeah.
to the woman's brain. So he learned to do this for the first couple of years.
Yep.
And, step back, step
He's
back.
holding his hands up,
Right.
everybody. He's holding his hands up.
Sorry. And
Yeah.
then what
Yeah.
happens is if she doesn't kind of recover from that mode, she at some level takes over the household as the man, and he keeps leaning back because he doesn't want to fight with her. It's easier, doesn't want to come home and fight her. So a lot of men acquiesce to this, going, I just want to keep the damn peace in here. I just want to keep peace in it. And this is how you destroy a marriage.
I,
Just saying.
I think that's more of the average marriage, Andre.
I know, but if
I
you
think
don't
that,
know
yeah.
that's
Yes,
happening,
correct.
it's going to happen. So
Right.
again, if the man's gonna be the man, I said this to my wife, and I didn't even know this at the time. But 2 years in 2 years into the birth of my first child, right? 2 years, I lost my wife completely.
Yeah,
My
you did talk about
lovely,
this before. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right, 2 years into it, and I'm patient. I understand. She's overwhelmed. She's breastfeeding in the beginning. Everything's on her, right? She's tired. She doesn't
Mm-hmm.
sleep. She can't shower. I get it. I'm watching. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I
Sure.
do whatever I can. I even do the groceries because I double up myself because it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm patient. I understand. I understand. And I understand. I understand. I understand. I understand. I understand. And eventually, 2 years into it, I'm like, I want my wife back. I want my wife back. This person, is basically putting the baby before me and before herself. I want my wife back.
And how did she respond initially?
She got it. I mean, she got it. She was like, well, you don't understand. I go, I do understand. I'm watching. I do understand. Right. But if we're going to survive this, you know, if we're going to survive this, he's got to come second.
Yep. 100%.
I'll take care of him. You know
I
what I mean? But
so that's a great that's an actual bona fide tactic, for lack of a better word, that a man can use when he's in that stage of life, that as opposed to just never saying that I want my wife back. Like, how many people would say I want my wife back? That's something concrete you can do to stop the pattern you're seeing that you don't like, rather than just acquiescing and
yes.
stepping back.
To,
And
to
so,
keep the peace, because I'm telling you, say to your wife, I want my wife back. There's going to be a conversation,
oh, for sure. For
right?
sure.
Good or bad at the moment, right? But that's like, this has to change. This is, we got to renegotiate something or reframe, because if we don't, this is again like a lot of women fall into motherhood, and if they have more than one, two, and three,
Mm-hmm.
like that's, the kids are more important than their husband. And eventually I go, but you want, eventually when the kids are grown up,
You're left
you
with him.
want, you still, no, you still want him to be there, but you may lose him
Oh,
for the
yeah.
sake of
Yeah.
the kids. So like the couple has to survive first. I'm just saying.
I just want to end this by someone sent me Insta reel that I reposted on Facebook with just a guy in a car, you know how it is today, in their cars, giving a 2-minute spiel, just saying very simply that when you are, I mean, he's just looking at the camera and saying, ladies, when you are soft, when you are sweet, when you are kind, when you are gentle, when you're receptive, it does something to a man.
Oh yeah.
And we know this. I'm just going to end it with, I'll let you describe it the way you want to describe it, but this is the gist of basically what these whole two episodes have been about. That is your superpower.
Yep.
And it's sitting there. It's sitting there inside you. Anytime you want to access it, all you have to do is do that, and it is immediate. Explain from the man's point of view why and how it causes you to be the man that they secretly want to see.
Boy, good question. So this is the thing I do with my clients. My clients typically come at me because they can't get they can't get a man, they can't get a date. If they get a date, they don't get a second date. They get ghosted. They're beautiful. They're strong, powerful, independent. Start thinking, what's wrong with me? And I go, it's all the same. They're all the same.
They're all the same.
There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with you. You're masculine as hell. Is what's wrong with you? What? What? What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm pretty. No, you look like a girl, but your
Hmm.
energy is
Hmm.
masculine. You prove so you're more interested in proving that you're powerful than you're interested in being a girl. They don't have that so part of the work that I do immediately is get them on the program to step back into their feminine, to step back into their bodies, right? Women who are masculine are stuck in their heads, like us. So you disappear from our sight and we can't see you. We can't feel you. You're in your head like us. Femininity brings us out of our heads. That's why we need you to be feminine. It is what connects us to the world, makes us alive. I want to say it again. It brings us present and alive. So a feminine woman is warm, radiates, is kind. Her light is on. We can all feel it. And to be in the presence of a feminine woman lifts my spirit, and inspires me. It's beautiful. It soothes my soul. I could go on and on and on. Right? It soothes my
Yeah.
soul. And that energy is so precious to us, we want to protect it. This is where men come up and provide and protect, open doors and all this stuff, just energetically, right? We delight in that energy. It lifts our spirit. It's like bringing life into us, right? So when women are in their heads again, all that disappears.
Right. And as you said, because I work mostly with married women, you work, I think, more with single women.
Yeah.
Once the kids come along and all that happens, that is what just dissipates naturally. And I
Yep.
keep saying, if you just access that, part of why they struggle to access is because they've shored up resentments.
Right.
And again, that goes back to communication. Stop
Yep.
holding everything in, communicate everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then don't let the resentment build up. And then when you're in the right mood, don't wait for the mood. I take that back. That's not what I teach. Even when you don't feel like it, is what I actually say. Do this anyway. Put on that dress. Act this way that doesn't feel natural to you, because you're going to be so excited by what you get that you're going to want to do it more. But you have to first get over the hump of like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Oh, I shouldn't have to do this, or all kinds of stuff. At a lady, we talked about sex, I think, earlier. A lady who was square upset to me, and I just like fell off my chair, and she was not kidding. She said to me, "Well, he's always complaining that we don't have sex, sexless marriage, And she's like, "Look, I have little hands on me all day long. He needs to get over it." She was that serious. He needs to get over it. I'm like, "How do you think this is going to work? Right? How do How do you think this is going to work? What do you mean he needs to get over it? And I mean,
and that's going to be hard to penetrate, because that's an attitude. That's a real attitude, like that you'd have to shift that attitude so dramatically. And I don't know. Yeah, I've heard it.
Yeah,
I've heard it too. Andre,
oh yeah.
did you have any final third words you wanted to say for
Boy,
today?
I want to say, in our culture, this, I know this. This is my work every day. This is what I work on with my ladies, my women, and the man is the opposite, to bring him back into the manhood. But the culture is raising every woman to be masculine, go girl, boss babe, strong, independent, powerful, which is beautiful for business. But you cannot be that in relationship with men. Masculine men do not want masculine women. Hunters don't date hunters. So most women get stuck in that go girl since they were 5 years old, because mom told them in the school, and right, it's beautiful, it's great. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying you have to change gear if you want to attract masculine men. Masculine men don't want your balls in their face. They want the girl.
And to reverse that, to close it out by reversing it more toward what we've been talking about this week and last week, since remember the title is Why Does Your Wife Do That?
Yeah.
It's the same for the man, because men are also being geared, or being groomed,
Trained
to be feminine,
Yep.
And that doesn't work. So why does your wife do that? Because you're being too feminine.
Voila.
You don't realize that's what's happening. And she doesn't necessarily even phrase it that way, but that's what's happening.
I've seen women who are manly as hell, and I mean like just manly as hell per their training, per their childhood, per everything, right? Get in the presence of a masculine man and go, and they hold their breath for a second and a little knee buckle, and all of a sudden they're giggling, like just, because the presence of a masculine man like just chills the feminine
Them
out,
out.
brings her right out, right? So
Yep.
the badass, don't need no blah blah blah, and giggling like,
I've
hi,
seen, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
so nice to
Right.
meet you. I'm like, who
Yes.
are you, right? But again, energy. So man, if you man up and literally handle yourself and build some character and discipline yourself and push through your fears and become capable of doing something that you are proud of, automatically the energy will take place and you become sexy to women. So it's not about complaining that they don't respond to you, that they don't like you. It's just all bitching again. It's all girly. Man the hell up. And again, if you're feminine, that's going to offend you. I don't care. Man the hell up.
Mm-hmm.
Build your life, build your character, go do something that's difficult to do, be proud of yourself. So you'll gain self-respect and also the respect for men and women. And then you can whatever the hell you want in life, because
There
you can
you
have the mojo and the experience and know how to build something bigger than you, like, and along with a wife and kids if you want. I mean, handle your shit, man. And ladies, let them.
Perfect ending. That is beautiful, Andre. Very lovely.
Had a moment.
You had a moment. There you go. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on these two
Anytime.
weeks. It's been great. I know
Anytime.
people are going to love it, and I'll get these emails that say, "Oh, you brought Andre back. That's so great. We love him." So, once again, you can find Andre at
projectequinox.net. And again, if anybody wants to talk to me, I'm offering a free hour of digging.
Awesome.
If you find yourself stuck, just go to my calendar under appointments on the website. Book yourself a VIP hour, men or women, by the way, just a little questionnaire, and we'll have a conversation.
There you go. Projectequinox.net.
Net. Yes.
Net. Yeah. You probably have to always emphasize that because people will do com.
Well, yeah. If you do .com, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, Andre. Thank you so much. And it was great to see you again, and hope to chat soon.
Anytime at all, Tony. Have a good weekend.
You too. And that ends this hour of the Suzanne Venker Show. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and to leave us a review, as well as share this episode with a friend. As always, you may reach me with any questions or comments at Suzanne@thesuzannevenkershow.com. And if you would like to support this podcast, which would be very much appreciated, you can do so at patreon.com/The Suzanne Venker Show. Thanks, everyone. Have a good week.